Drinks and a Movie podcast, hosted by Rudy Ruiz. Spoiler alert.
Cheers, everybody. Welcome to Drinks and a Movie podcast. I am back with my dear good friend Carissa.
Hey, guys.
we're here for our continuation of our Halloween extravaganza, which we started recently with Last House on the Left triple feature. And today we're going to be talking about Lucio Fulci's The Beyond from 1981, which I forgot is actually the second entry in his Gates of Hell trilogy.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking we're going to have to do the other two now. So City of the Living Dead being the first one, which I have. I haven't seen that movie in a long time, but I got the DVD. The House by the Cemetery, I've always wanted to see, but never got around to it. So I'm finally going to order that Blu-ray. So maybe we might as well cover all three of them.
Yeah, we have to.
This season. So to kick it off, though, everybody, I think today is the first day of fall or something as we're recording this.
It is,
right?
yeah. The 22nd, first day of fall.
Yeah, so we're finally in it. We're in the fall time here. So I wanted to do whiskey that makes me think fall. We're going to do the Nelson Bros Calvados Cask bourbon whiskey, a blend of straight bourbon whiskeys finished in Calvados Cask, which is apple brandy. So let me go in and pour a little bit of this first, and I'll talk about it.
Sounds fancy. Yeah, I've never had this type of whiskey before.
So this is from the Nelson Greenbriers Distillery in Tennessee, and I got to finally go over there. They're friends of the podcast. I've had the brand ambassador on the show before. They've sent me some bottles to review, which I've covered on the various episodes, and I've done some YouTube videos on them. And this one, when I got to actually go to the distillery, I was like, all right, I don't have this one. I'm going to buy it. Apple brandy sounds interesting, and I will read about it on the website now. So introducing an exquisite fusion of tradition and innovation, we are thrilled to unveil our latest masterpiece, Nelson Bros Calvados Cask Finish. Immerse yourself in the rich heritage of our distillery. God, I'm already out of breath as we elevate the art of whiskey making with this unique expression. Crafted with meticulous care, our Calvados cask finish undergoes a journey of maturation in French Calvados casks, imparting distinct notes of orchard fresh apples and a subtle hint of spice. This limited edition release represents a harmonious marriage of American whiskey craftsmanship and French apple brandy finesse. Join us on this sensory adventure as we invite you to savor the complexity of flavors, from the initial sweet apple blossom aromas to the warm, lingering finish. Unveil the spirit of innovation as we celebrate the launch of Nelson Bros Calvados Cask, an extraordinary addition to the Nelson's Greenbrier legacy. Cheers to tradition redefined and new horizons explored. Coming in at 106.8 proof, which I love.
Oh, dang.
Yeah.
Don't mind if I do, Nelson Brothers.
It smells good. So I forgot. I was going to bring their classic bourbon, which is our kind of everyday sipper one, to do a little comparison, but I left it. But
it smells nice. It feels like it's thick. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it
you
has
can
a
feel
thick nose.
it's rich, rich. Yeah.
That's a better way to say it. I'm like, it's thick.
I definitely I feel like I get that high rye kind of, bourbon scent from their reserve. I definitely get like a hint of a green apple kind of vibe,
Yeah. It's light, but it's there.
Yeah.
The little tinge.
There's something else. It's very bright. Like, I don't want to say citrusy, but I guess that green apple note is more the vibe for sure. It's hard for me to kind of get past that. Anything you notice that I don't, maybe?
Well, this one, more so than the other ones, like really envelops your nose. It is really rich on the nose, and that makes me nervous because you know me. I'm a wussy, but I'm really excited to try it.
All right, here we go. Cheers.
Wow. Like, I could sip that.
Really? That's funny because it came in a little hot for me.
Yeah, but usually after is when I'm dying, and it has a long finish.
Yeah. Which, do you like it this time? I like it. I think the finish on this is great.
Yeah. Like with this one, this is a nice finish. Like sometimes, it burns and I'm like, no. But this is like, it's like a nice warm.
Yeah. Not bad for 106.8 proof too. Now, I feel like it's right in the pocket of like some heat. The finish is still lingering. And I feel like it's on the back of the palate, and the finish at the apple notes really shine through. Like, to me, more of like the golden apple, the yellow ones with a little bit of a baked apple kind of vibe too, because from the bourbon, you get the kind of caramelly aspect of it. So to me, I also think like, you know, a baked apple with like the crumble.
Yes.
And, you know, a little bit of cinnamon spice and all that stuff, some caramel drizzle, which is good. Hopefully I'm not selling it as like overly sweet.
It's not sweet at all,
like
guys.
Super sweet, but it does make me think of that, especially on the finish.
Yeah, I like the finish on this one. Usually I'm not into the long finishes, but this one it's like it's nice. It's a feel. It's a vibe. It's definitely
Like I get a sense of the like quintessential bourbon on the front, some dark caramel with definitely that high rye kind of vibe.
yes.
That I get from their other products and like, you know, like an old granddad or something like that too, with that pepper on the front. And I like that it's in the back that the apple notes kind of show up.
Yeah.
So it's multi-layered in that way, which I always appreciate. Yeah, this is my second, like I've opened this already, as you can see, but this is only the second time I've tried it. And I haven't shared it with anyone yet. So you're the first person to
I like it. It's
to try this.
nice.
Yeah.
Usually it's very hard to sell me on the whiskey, you know? But like
Yeah.
this one's nice.
Yeah, it's a good one. Definitely a nice fall pour. That's what I was saying. I'm like, all right,
Yes.
September, end of September, fall apples just seem like a thing. Because I think of school, like when you're a little kid and it's like, oh, the apple on the teacher's desk
You go,
kind of
yeah,
thing.
or you go like apple picking because it's cold outside. And it's finally it's feeling like fall in California.
About time. Yep. Yeah, so this is a good one. You know, like we were talking about a second ago, not quite available in California. As far as I know, the only place I've seen any of their cask finish series was in High Times wine cellar in Costa Mesa. They had the sherry cask version, but not this one. So this one I picked up at the actual distillery when I got to visit back in May or June or whatever month that was. Happy to have this. This is really hitting the spot right now.
Yeah, this is thumbs up.
All right.
Good job, Nelson Brothers. I'm into this.
Yep. Hell yeah. Well, all right. Now let's really shift some gears into
Something else.
Lucio Fulci's The Beyond.
60 years ago, everybody in this hotel disappeared. Every last person. A painter called Zweig, who lived here, closeted in his room, had found a key. What key? The 7 gateways to hell.
You know, I have a little bit of an anecdote with this because a couple years ago, when I was still a high school teacher, I wasn't teaching marching bands after school like every single day.
Okay.
Like I am right now. So
Yeah.
I like have no time to do anything. So I was able to, you know, after classes on a couple days, like Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, go to the movies a lot. Like I was at Secret Movie Club, New Beverly Cinema, like the Vista didn't open back up yet, but like those two, it felt like every day, but like a few times a week. I was at Secret Movie Club or New Beverly, like constant. It was like one of the best months of my life for that reason.
Yeah.
Like for real, because I'm
'Cause you
just
had
like,
time
dude,
to-
I'm working and it's like, it'd be long days because I'm over here doing a double feature. I'm getting home at like midnight or 1 a.m. and I got to wake up and teach the next day. But yeah, man, Halloween spooky season comes once a year.
Yes, I know.
And Secret Movie Club isn't even like doing stuff anymore. So I'm glad I like got all that out while I could. So, you know, good things don't always last. And also for my birthday that year, Sally took me to see a surprise, like total surprise gift. Took me to see Wu-Tang Clan and Nas at the Hollywood Bowl.
Stop it.
So first time at the Hollywood Bowl, and I'm there to watch Wu-Tang Clan.
That's wild.
With Nas, you know, Busta Rhymes came out, did some songs. Like LL Cool J came and did a song. Mary J. Blige. It was wild, man. So
what a throwback. How did you feel? Oh my gosh, the nostalgia. You must have just been like, oh
no,
wow.
yeah, it was incredible. I never thought in my whole life I would get a chance to see Wu-Tang, you know, live. Like,
yeah, of course.
and then she just, she just totally surprised me with, I had no idea they were even doing a show out here with Nas.
At the Hollywood Bowl.
Too.
Yeah, that's so wild.
Like I had no clue. So that was awesome. But what was crazy too is like later that night we get back and I'm spending the night at her pad in Hollywood, and there was a drive-by on the apartment that night, which was really fucking
You're
scary.
like, wow, did you do that too, Sally? You just really nailed the whole vibe.
You just tried to have me killed. No, that was really scary and crazy. So I didn't sleep much that night.
Welcome to Hollywood, baby.
Yeah. But so anyway, a really good month. And I remember on my actual birthday, which was probably like a Tuesday or Wednesday that year, I went to Secret Movie Club, Lucio Fulci double feature, so it was Zombie, aka Zombie 2, which, was my first foray into Lucio Fulci's filmography. I don't feel as strongly about that movie anymore, but it was doubled with The Beyond, which I had never seen before. And at the last minute, because I was going by myself. I'm like just my lonely little birthday because Sally works, at night and all that. So it's hard for us to always. And my good friend Malia, who I think this is the last time I saw her, which is kind of a bummer maybe. She came and joined me at the last minute, which was super cool. She had never seen these movies, but was just along for the ride. So it was nice to have like a friend with me. So it's like a core memory of my adulthood. It's like that month and,
everything
all
involved
that.
with it.
Yeah. I wish I could have done a podcast on all the movies I saw, or that I like logged everything because I was fucking on one. I saw The Descent 1 and 2 for the first time that month.
What? Man, those movies.
I was thinking of maybe we'll cover them.
We should. Did you ever see? I mean, because the first one, I'm sure they have the 2 different endings for it.
Yeah. I don't remember which ending was on the print. I completely forgot. I feel like it's the better one, or what I think is the better one. Right,
the sad one.
I think so.
Yeah, because they're saying the one they did for basically Americans when they were testing it was like, well, everybody wants a happy ending over here. You know what I mean? And like the real one is, yeah, right? I was like, come on. Yeah. Let everybody suffer.
But yeah, so that was a great month. I know we'll talk about the movie soon. And I just remember, Craig, who ran Secret Movie Club, comes out and he's all right. He always does like fun facts about the films. And I'm just letting everybody know this movie like doesn't really make sense. So like the same thing I text you. He's like, so just if you're seeing it for the first time, you're going to enjoy it. This is probably his masterpiece, probably his best movie. It's pretty epic, but just go with the ride. Like, don't sit here trying to put pieces together. And we went in, and man, I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was a great experience. I'm glad my first time watching it was on the big screen. 35 mil print. Great crowd moments. The fucking soundtrack. Fabio Frizzi is awesome. Oh my gosh! Ever since then, I listened to the soundtrack regularly in my car. Ever since that first time I saw it, regularly, like straight up. Not the full soundtrack. There's like the main theme is the one I love the most, like what plays at the end. Yeah. And like jump into the end. We'll just jump all over. Oh my gosh. Dude, yeah, that end really hit me when I first saw it. And when they walk out and that flute solo starts, and it's like the flute solo and that crazy voice is like, and into the darkness. You will explore whatever in the darkness from there in whatever. Oh my god. And their eyes go white and shit, and it just fades, and the music's so epic and like beautiful though, and
devastating. That was like devastating. I was like, oh my gosh.
It is. It's a bummer ending.
It really is, because you're just like, wow. Well,
yeah. But man, it was great. And I remember certain moments, like, when the mom like randomly dies because the acid in a jar at the top of the thing. I was like, what the hell is going on? I love how long the shots linger though. Like it just like the camera is just waiting there. It
just
feels
looking at
like
the bloody foam, just like coming to the girl, and it's just pouring on her face. And I mean, honestly, it's probably, the science experiment you do with like the volcano, and you have the baking soda and the vinegar, and it's like that, bubbling on her face. But man, I loved this movie for all of I loved it for all of the wacky effects. And one of my girlfriends was like, oh, what are you watching? I'm like, oh, it's a movie called The Beyond. I don't think you'll like it. It's kind of art housey, kind of weird. And it's like an Italian movie. I don't think you're going to be into it. Cause she doesn't, she's not like a movie watcher. She's like, I'll watch it with you. So we press play at the same time. And she's messaging me. She's like, what the fuck? What is this? What the heck? And I was like, just watch it. And she's like, oh my gosh, what are you guys watching?
Lucio Fulci,
I'm like, it's a cult classic. Hello. But yeah, it was just very, very, very funny having somebody who doesn't really, who's not in the film industry, doesn't watch films like that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, come watch this movie. And she's like, what are you guys watching?
Yeah. I mean, I think even if you are in the film industry, that Italian like horror cinema at that time was just a whole other beast, a whole other animal, you know? And I love it. Like, I love their sensibilities over there and just the style. I love the style of the films they do there. Like, I wish so badly I can like replicate the way they do lighting and everything. The cinematography in this movie is awesome all the way through. Like, and they actually shot in New Orleans, you know, which is kind of crazy because a lot of times like these, you know, obviously these Italian movies are made up to look like, oh, we're in New York, but they're somewhere else, you know. Most movies, but they actually shot on location in New Orleans, which is pretty cool. And you can kind of, I've been there a couple times and there's moments when they're walking down the street and I'm like, yeah, this looks legit.
You're like, dang, who did the set design?
Yeah, because it has a look. It has very much its own character. New Orleans. Have you been there? You must
I went there for Mardi Gras when I was like 22.
Okay.
And it was just a mess. There was like 10 of us. We drove there in a van. It was raining that year. Yeah.
From Florida or from LA?
From Florida.
Okay.
Yeah. I was still in Florida at the time. And it rained and we stayed in somebody's basement because we didn't like, you know, we were young kids. Like, kind of kids. It was so fun though.
Yeah.
Good times.
Yeah, man. But yeah, you can definitely tell if you've been there. It's like, oh yeah, this is legit. It definitely adds an aura to the film because there's kind of like a creep factor just to some of the architecture and houses. And it has its own character, the way things are designed out there. And, you know, there's areas with like a lot of woodsiness, which is kind of cool. And yeah, I don't know. I think it just lends itself to the movie a lot. Just that location.
It does.
The hotel and all that.
Even like the hotel. Oh my gosh! But the opening scene was so just like I was like, what is going? Like when I watched it, I was like, okay, this is what it's gonna be. You know, of the guy standing up there and then falling back. He's like, oh, hello, we're just painting for the day.
And he sees like the eyes.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
The eyes are so scary, whatever.
Yeah. When he's like spitting up blood and coming to, I'm just like, wow.
Oh, I thought you were going to talk about like the very, very beginning, like the sepia tone.
No. When they're doing like the things. No.
And they're like crucifying this
oh
dude
my gosh. Well, yeah, that.
Pouring like the hot plaster on him.
Dude, I was like, what is this? Because I was like, you know, they're boiling it. Like, yeah, I mean, he's a warlock.
Yeah.
Evil warlock. Yeah, I forgot that scene was the very, very
first one. He was the key to keeping them safe from this gate, this portal to hell, apparently. And they screwed it all up by wrecking him. It's interesting, too. It has almost a, you know, classic Universal, you know, lynch mob, pitchforks kind of vibe, you know?
100%.
Them all just kind of rolling up on their boats and just frontier justice, you know?
That first when they put the first nail, like, and the effects in this, listen, it's not like crazy, but I love them. The practical effects, like they're just.
Oh, I love it. I don't care how fake the faces.
That's what made. I think that's what makes it so enjoyable. Because, like, you know, obviously, and we'll jump into when we jump into the next one. Watching something like this where you like the effects are very, very fake, you know it's not real, and you're just like, oh, enjoying it for what it is, as opposed to watching something and it like turns your stomach because it looks so real. Yeah. You know, so movies like this I think are a little bit more fun to watch because you're just like, oh, I love the gore. Wild. Yeah. Yeah. Like this kind of gore I can do. This kind of gore I really like love and I appreciate. And I really like the effects, like, you know, right when they put the first nail in his hand, I was like, wow, I was like, they did a really good job. And that was like almost 50 years ago. Well, yeah.
81.
Crazy. Mm-hmm. Oh, God, 81. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, what was I going to add to that whole beginning part? Oh, I didn't realize the first time I saw it that the woman reading the book in the beginning of the movie is the blind chick. Yeah. I didn't get, and then now I'm like, oh, that's her. Okay.
Because I think it's the two blonde chicks look so similar. Because I was like, wait a second, they look almost like doppelgangers. This is a weird thing, but yeah, it's the blind chick.
Yeah. Yeah, I completely. And man, I love when it gets to the opening credits when she's like reading the line and the flames like shoot up, and then it just like the title with the flames going up and all the credits and the incredible score. So I bought the Blu-ray a couple months ago. The Grindhouse releasing like special edition Blu-ray, and it comes with the soundtrack with the CD. But now my new car doesn't have a CD player, so
well, that's what you get for getting a new car, Rudy. See what happens?
Yeah, fuck me. But thank goodness for YouTube just having every soundtrack known to man on it.
Exactly.
But yeah, that Blu-ray looks really great, by the way. I'm like, yeah, it's fucking really good looking.
Mint.
So yeah, no, I love that whole opening credits. The music's incredible. Every time the blind chick shows up, she's got her own little piano theme, which I'm sure you recognize.
I love that. Yeah, and the soundtrack, and it was wild because my girlfriend also messaged me. She's like, "What's up with the music?"
It's great
because when the kills like happen, it's like it's not like janky happy, but it's like you know what I mean? Yeah, it's very enjoyable. It doesn't like set like a crazy scary tone, but it kind of like the contrast between it just feels very like
it's very unique. Very very unique, and it's pretty different too. It's a departure from. Fabio's other scores from like Zombie 2 and City of the Living Dead, like those have a similar kind of vibe and tone to the music. And this is just more epic's the best way I can put it. Like it's truly like an epic, like beautiful, grand score that's still melancholy. That's like beautiful, but melancholy at the same time. And has these kind of chanting voice sound like a choir chorus almost. Yeah. That adds a little bit of a creepy vibe to it. But man, yeah, I love it. The soundtrack's awesome.
I think another one of my favorite scenes, if we're just going to jump around, the spider scene.
That shit. I remember the first time I watched this movie, I was like, this is crazy.
This was the first time I thought I'd watch this.
I fucking hate bugs.
So I didn't watch The Beyond. I watched from, like, I didn't watch this movie. I thought, like, I seen, like, little pieces before, but, like, this was the first time I sat there and watched it, and I was like, oh, my gosh. I have to say, all the kill scenes in this, I really just appreciated the weird like close-ups and the zoom ins and the camera angles, and just like obviously it's low budget, but man, when that spider like stuck its little leg in his mouth and then, like went in there and like bit off part of his tongue, and then
I wouldn't say this movie's low budget at all. Like
it wasn't low budget. It was, so how much? There was like 500,000 back in the day, but that equals what, like 4 million today, right? Something like that.
Yeah, estimated 400 grand. I mean, even back then, maybe that is kind of low budget ish. I don't know. But then also like Italy, I don't know, but it doesn't come across like a cheap movie by any
means. No, it doesn't
means.
come off cheap at all.
I mean, that whole tarantula part, that would have been like CGI now anyway. I appreciate the fact that they'll have like 2 or 3 real tarantulas in the foreground that are legit.
Yeah.
And then kind of out of focus in the background of the obvious
that like, little fake one that's like
moving
I
like this.
I love that though. I'm like, this is so funny.
Yeah. But yeah, I like how when they're crawling on his face, you can see where they use like the prosthetic and where it's his actual face, because his eyes moving and his like tongue and mouth are moving. But when that leg is like hitting
in his mouth, I was like,
and there's that like macro shot of it just like biting his
and
tongue.
Like ripping it out, and it's like crawling
in
out,
his eyes,
and blood's just pouring out everywhere. I was like, wow,
it's so indulgent, it's crazy, but I love it. They really milk all that shit.
They do, and it just focuses so close, and it just shows you every little single detail, and I'm just like, oh my gosh. And it goes on, but it's fun because it's not hard to watch. It's fun to watch, as messed up as that sounds. I can't think of a better way to like say it.
It has me all smiles. Like when I saw it in the theater, and there was probably half the people in there watching it for the first time, and including my friend and I, and like that scene's happening and the acid scene, and they go on so long that you're just kind of like looking around like, no, this is still happening, huh? Like we're still
watching this.
We're gonna get a close up of it, like ripping his eye out, and there goes his tongue. There goes his lip.
Oh my gosh!
Yes. But I'm just smiling the whole time. I'm like, man, this is fucking awesome. This is like, I just love crazy shit like this.
I would love to be able to do, you know what I mean? And just even with all of the weird, like the acid scene. They're just so when they cut back and they cut for it, like, and you can tell that obviously they put like the fake thing, and it's just like fading away and like folding into her face, and you're just like, yes,
and like sizzling and all that. Man, actually the sound design too, whenever they do, like even with the spider stuff, they just add all these extra little cripply, like, crumply sounds and all that like really amplify the, I don't know, the grossness of it. Like just like that, like Yeah, I love the sound design. There's a lot of eyes getting destroyed in this movie, right?
That's
it's like
the big thing.
Yeah, when
I saw.
When they see the the shit they're not supposed to see, like hell, the gate to hell or whatever, and like they go blind, like the chick, and then the little girl, the little redhead girl, like gets the white eyes too. But everyone gets their fucking eyes ripped out in this movie, like in some
everybody.
form. Yeah.
Because who was the plumber? Joe the plumber goes and he's like, "Oh, how long is this going to take to fix?" It takes as long as it takes. Yeah. Okay, let's go see it. Yeah. And they're downstairs and it's just full of water. And I remember that part. I was like, "Oh my gosh!" And then he grabs his face and it's like, ah.
And that, even though the rest of the face looks, obviously is a prosthetic, but when the eye is like being gouged out,
oh
it
my
looks
gosh, it looks
pretty legit. It has like a wetness and a texture to it. It almost makes me wonder if they got like an animal. Like, were you ever in school where you had the like biology and you had to
dissect like, the frogs and stuff,
or like a pig's eye or something? Yeah. And it makes me wonder if it's something like that, like a real like animal eye or something. Maybe they did. Yeah, that shit's crazy.
Because that was intense. I was like, ooh, and it like popped out so nice. Just like
it was getting all like smushed and stuff. And that one, the crazy lady that got like pushed into the nail, and that was a great kill.
That was a great kill.
And it's funny because in a lot of like American movies, they weren't at that time doing gore quite like this. Like, I feel like Dawn of the Dead started to take things to the next level, but even then, like when Lucio Fulci did Zombie 2, that took it even further. And then, we eventually got Day of the Dead, which went more. But here, I mean, yeah, they were going for it like way before the Americans were, I feel, with that shit. Like that would have been a cutaway in an American movie, exactly. But when you see the back of her head and it pushes her and it cuts in the
yeah, I was like, wow.
Out like the socket.
This is amazing. Like, I was like, this is amazing. That's great.
Yeah. Overall, you dug the movie though? So like,
I love the movie. I am such an advocate for animals. Let me just say that. Mm-hmm. What's Eliza?
Yeah, Eliza.
Yeah. The blind chick, when everybody comes back and she's like, I'm not going with you. And she has a seeing eye dog named Dickie. And he's a German Shepherd. Mm-hmm. And then she's like, Dickie, attack! And the dog starts attacking all the zombie people so they don't take her back to hell. And she's like, attack, attack, attack. So the dog's attacking everybody. And I think this is like one of my favorites. I hate how they do this usually in movies when like dogs attack people, but I'm like, this one was just so good. And the dog goes back to her and she's like, you saved me. Like, she's like hugging and kissing. And then the dog literally bites her neck, rips her neck open. It starts like blood pouring out, and then gets her face, and then gets her ear, rips her ear off. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And it was just so well done. It's
pretty random too. I remember being like, oh shit, that's what it was.
I wasn't
like,
expecting
legit,
that.
because they do that jump scare shit where there's like a phone or an alarm that keeps going on. Dude, and I'm watching this with not a good sound system, just the speakers on the TV.
Yeah.
And this is one thing, like, I'm watching it pretty late, and I'm like turning the volume up. I'm at like 70 out of 100 on this fucking TV for the dialogue. And when that bell went off, and I was like, oh shit, dude. Like, and it happens again later in the movie. But yeah, that moment when the dog just turns on her. And the dog was like so cute, like cozying up to her too, like protecting her, which I thought was great. And then he just goes haywire. I guess he got possessed by the zombies or whatever. But, that scene leading up to the dog attack is, I think, one of the best, maybe the best, like, suspense scene in there, when she's just, like looking around and, she's blind, and she, like, steps away at one point and the zombie's behind her and it's, like, uplit in that, like, classic creepy way. And then it cuts to a wide shot and there's, like, four of them, like, surrounding her, and she's just like all blind and shit, like doesn't know, and is just talking about not going back. That was really good and creepy, and yeah, I really like that moment. And then sadly she just bleeds out, I guess.
Yeah, the dog, man. I was like, damn. And then they go to the hospital. Oh, we forgot even like the guy that's with her,
the doctor
that's with her. And this part, I was like, oh, come on, doctor. Because every time, so now the dead walk the earth. Mm-hmm. So all the dead people in the hospital, they're all waking up and walking around, being all dead and stuff. And he has his gun and he shoots. He's like, shoot in the heart, shoot in the stomach, They don't die. Shoot in the head, they die. But he does that for every single one. And I'm like, bro, obviously the stomach doesn't work. Go for the head.
There's one part, it's like after that where you think it's like, oh yeah, that's
like
the headshot. And he shoots it in the chest and you think he's going to go for the head. But yeah, he goes down for the stomach and then he's out of bullets.
Yeah. And I'm like, great. You see what happens? Ridiculous.
Yeah, that's funny, that like contrived shit. I do like all that little sequence though, like in the hospital, and it's such an like different look from when they're at the hotel.
Yeah,
you know, there's a lot of textures and shadows and all this, but here it's like the white walls, and normally that would just suck and be bullshit, but somehow it still looks very
it works
like
for the
scary and just like creepy, and just I guess because the zombies all in the hallways, and when they're in the room where the bodies are in the slab,
body bags,
and there's kind of like the blue light in the background. I did like that.
Yeah.
And I did like that scare too when they pull her, like they break through the window and like pull her head
that was
back.
great. Yeah.
When we first see all the zombies, like that was a good scare moment. And one of the best headshots I've ever seen in my life. They find the little girl just kind of cozying up in this room still, like. And mind you, everybody, we don't like the weird thing with this movie and where it doesn't make sense is like the way it goes from scene to scene and the things people do, like, doesn't really, it's pretty random. Like, and I was really trying to keep up this time. And I guess Lucio Fulci was pretty famous for saying with these movies, like he's not really into the logic of it. I forget. There's like a quote from him that's like way better, but less about the logic and more just like, the visuals and all that. Like, we're just going to make the cool, scary shit.
I believe it.
So, to an extent, I appreciate that. But yeah, so she's in there. So now this little girl's with them. They find that other doctor fool that they were looking for, Harris.
Oh my gosh.
And he immediately gets, when he shoots, and it doesn't make any sense, but I love it. Like he shoots through the glass and then the glass like all goes to him and like kills him. It's a great little moment regardless, but yeah, the headshot of the little girl, she goes and grabs grabs
her face, because that's what they just keep grabbing each other's face and crushing it and crushing their eyes. But
and I love that the doctor has zero hesitation, not like stop. In any other movie, it would have been
it's a little
stop.
Girl.
No, what are you doing? Like, we can't hurt her, and he just like. Boom,
right there.
Blows her head off. And it is an incredible effect.
Yes.
Where like half the face is just blown off, caved in.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Tons of blood. We get 2 different angles of it. Masterpiece. I mean, I'm a sucker for a good like head explosion. And that has got to be like number one for me. And they end up back at the hotel and we get that very bleak ending with the great music.
Yeah, I was like, when you said don't bother trying, because you know me, I'm very like logical. I'm like, well, this didn't make sense and this didn't make sense. And I was like, okay, I'll just chill with it. And I think everything about it was so enjoyable that it was easy to,
Yeah.
Because I'm like, it's not really, I mean, it is a little bit about the story, but I'm like, for this movie, for me, I was like, this was more about like how it was filmed, the feeling it gave me, and like just watching all the fun, crazy kills.
Yeah. Exactly. We just go and enjoy the ride and get a bunch of creepy little sequences kind of stitched together. And it's good. I think he does well with the suspense and the scares in this one.
Yeah.
There is one. I was watching some YouTuber review it earlier because I was just curious to hear some other thoughts. And man, I don't remember the video or this dude's channel. I should have thought to write it down. But he was referencing some book references and this. Like he got pretty deep into the story and the influence, like just the influences and offered an explanation to why and how it's made to be this way, like by design, and it's kind of replicating a certain genre and this and that. And I was like, oh shit, okay, that's pretty deep. Like, your shit. So I thought that was cool. Sorry, everybody, I didn't write it down, so you can go find it yourself. But I feel like there's not that many YouTube reviews on it. But yeah, no, I really dig it. I mean, I think because of that period in my life, it's always going to have a special place in my heart too. And yeah, I was wondering, because I remember like walking away and really liking it. And I was like, okay, I'll get that Blu-ray eventually. Finally did. And I hadn't watched it since. And I was like, I've been wanting to see this again. So we got to just talk about it. And yeah, it still holds up for me. It's like just as fun. I hope I get to see it in a theater again at some point.
I would love to see it. I would love to see it in a theater. Because this is a movie that I'd be like, I want to see this in a movie theater. Because the music and it just, it makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, this is one that I would definitely want to.
Hell yeah.
Thumbs up, though. I loved this one. Good recommendation.
Yep.
It was not what I was expecting. I didn't know what to expect. But yeah. I love it.
The Beyond, Lucio Fulci, go check it out. So yeah, I guess pretty soon we're going to add to the list. We'll have to talk about City of the Living Dead, which has another one of my like favorite crazy ass like death scenes, but I'll let you just see it for yourself.
Oh man.
And then House by the Cemetery, which I haven't watched yet. So for some reason I thought this one would be the end of that little trilogy, but I guess House by the Cemetery is. That's another one I've been wanting to watch for a long time. And anytime I go to a store that has it, I always like hold the DVD or the Blu-ray in my hand and I just never get it. So I'm finally going to get it now and just, yeah, there we go.
We have to.
Yep. Well, that's a wrap on this one, everybody. Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you for listening to the Drinks in a Movie podcast. You can now find us on Instagram at Drinks in a Movie Pod, where we'll be posting photos from all the various films that we discuss. You can also email us at drinksinamoviepod@gmail.com. Please rate, review, and subscribe, and thank you for listening.